I know what you're thinking, that there is no possibility there could be any more biased, one-sided crap media coverage of the proposed gravel pit in Gallatin Gateway, Montana. But if that is what you're thinking, you probably shouldn't watch this.
New at 5, we're continuing to follow a year-long story of a controversial gravel pit out in Gallatin Gateway. Earlier this year, the Montana Department of Environmental Quality greenlit this 130-acre gravel pit and authorizing TMC Incorporated to begin open-cut operations.
So you're saying that the gravel pit has been found to be safe, that they followed Montana state law, that everything's been approved, and they're starting operations any moment?
However, a nonprofit is delaying operations by filing a lawsuit against Montana DEQ and the state of Montana.
Wah, wah, wah.
NBC Montana's Michael Santiscoy has the story.
A year flew by and Gallatin Gateway residents are still fighting to protect this large piece of land you can see behind me.
Get this straight. The environmental groups are fighting to protect that monocrop of Roundup resistant wheat no, that doesn't make any sense.
When Montana DEQ announced open cut operations were a go earlier this year, it was a huge blow for some residents.
You, the disgruntled neighbor.
I was just devastated because I don't even think we got a fair process.
Scanlon's home is only about 300 meters away from the proposed gravel pit site. She says she sunk a lot of her retirement funds into building her home as a...
That incredible driveway. That is just the most beautiful gravel I've ever seen. I wonder if she got it from TMC.
place for her family to meet or to rent rooms out to people. But Scanlon fears the gravel pit will make her home unlivable and unrentable.
So much went into this house that we're just gonna try to make the most of it.
We're gonna make the most of it as well by using the money we generate from the gravel pit to help us pay the ever-increasing costs of just living in this valley, as well as being able to pass it down to our kids. We're going to use it to survive, and all the good folks that work for companies like TMC and building and construction and everything that involves gravel are going to use it to survive. I'm excited for what it could do, not to mention that we're going to make the most of it in reclaiming the property so that you'll be 300 meters from a paradise.
The Gallatin Conservation Alliance sent me this press release stating they're filing a lawsuit against Montana DEQ and the state of Montana, claiming the recent changes to the Open Cut Mining Act are facially unconstitutional. The nonprofit alleges House Bill 599 allowed the DEQ to issue this and countless other open cut mine permits around the state without assessing critical human, environmental, and wildlife factors. GCA also alleges House Bill 599 essentially eliminated the DEQ's duty and ability to review proposed open cut mining operations for environmental harms.
The solution to everything: sue everyone. And the problem is, because they're a nonprofit, they can get away with it. Without having any evidence, they can make any claim they want, and they have no liability. So if we were to go after them, they could just dissolve and form another nonprofit. And this is driving up the cost of gravel and much more all over the state. And we're in big trouble if we don't address this.
GCA President Tracy Gibbons provided a quote, and she states, "While we certainly did not ask for this fight or want it forced upon us, we are proud to bring this case to hold our government accountable to our Constitution. We look forward to moving this critically important case forward, both to defend our home and community in Gallatin Gateway."
I hope our Montana legislature and court system can see through this nonsense and that they put a stop to it. It's super sad to think that these groups are using environmental claims with no data to back them up, to manipulate a community of people, to turn them against each other. And it's so obvious that that's exactly what's happened, and that the media has just acted like a mouthpiece for them this entire time.
I reached out to Montana DEQ to speak to an official about the lawsuit. This is their response. A DEQ official told me the agency wouldn't be able to provide an interview or comment because of the ongoing litigation. I spoke to the legal counsel for GCA, Graham Coppis, to find out where the lawsuit currently stands. He tells me the lawsuit is at the complaint stage and the government has 42 days to respond. Coppis says he's handling other Open Cut Mining Act lawsuits statewide and expects roadblocks to happen with this Gallatin Gateway case.
The state of Montana has poured unlimited resources into these cases. They have filed motion after motion and depositions, and I mean, it's a David versus Goliath situation.
Things here. First off, he's saying that we, the state of Montana taxpayers, are spending endless resources fighting these people. And secondly, who's David and who's Goliath? I mean, my rights are being trounced on, and I can't afford to hire you, Graham.
Do you believe right now at the moment that the Gateway Conservation Alliance has a good argument, a good stance with this case to make any type of progress and make a good push to make any type of change with what's going on in Gallatin Gateway?
Yeah, we wouldn't have filed this case if we didn't think there was a good faith basis for it. I think both sides will vigorously defend themselves.
Scanlon says she's happy to see the fight continue through the lawsuit, but says it's also worrisome.
I think it's a fight worth fighting, but it's a risk.
I'm not sure what risk she's talking about that they take in fighting against us, maybe other than spending other people's money. But I will say that TMC has taken an incredible risk. And if they delay and stop this project, it's going to be a huge impact on our local economy and the entire Montana state economy, because there are hundreds of projects that will be affected.
I'll continue to follow this story and let you know what happens next. In Gallatin Gateway, Michael Santascoy, NBC Montana.
What I really liked about this story from NBC Montana was they finally started to represent both sides of the issue journalistically. And nope, none of that happened. As you can see again, no one talked to us about it. No one talked to TMC. There were no opposing views. Are these people literally just the mouthpiece for these activists? Do they share an office I don't know about? Interesting. Anyway, I love you. I appreciate you. And Godspeed.